Hello folks, today we're off to playing some Stanley Parable. I don't know how to say, but it should be interesting. Okay, we fucked up a lot. Hold on.
Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure.
I need to hide the audio. I don't hear anything.
What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed. Then days.
Then days? I've only been here for like 2 seconds.
Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Are you sure about it? Hold on. I have to look up the... Okay. I searched it up on YouTube. So here's the intro apparently.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Okay, so that's the intro. I accidentally skipped it. There we are. Good.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Input received. Username access. I'm just gonna turn all the computers off because they were lazy and they disappeared. Nothing. Oh, I need to turn off that computer. What is 413 doing? He didn't turn off his computer.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
You're right, I think I know a Easter egg. Yes, I knew it. if you type face punch, everything becomes the face punch logo. So, good. Now it's back to normal. I knew the Easter egg, my guy. A broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
What if I don't? I kind of want to follow his instructions, but...
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow. Just an empty broom closet. No reason to...
Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. I have a conscience of myself.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
But I'm interacting with you, Stanley. Oh no, I'm Stanley.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Well, I want to interact with you. You know, he's pretty good talk.
There's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favourite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
I got a holiday. Okay, I am good. I like the little
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
It's just substitute
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. He or she has fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place at the computer, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them.
Okay, I'm a new person here.
That, just step out into the hall.
Hello, mate. I'm the new person. You know, why was this guy in the closet? Can you tell me, mate, Stanley? Yeah, I know I'm Stanley. I forgot about that.
Second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you
Hmm.
can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
Thank you. That's really...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, yeah. Right, mate. I like that I was second person. The other guy was a bit stupid, dying and fucking... just dying, you know. That's pretty dumb. Hello? Wait, what is this? I got no narration, mate.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Yeah, I was truly just putting random button, you know. I like to be the second. No, like, the other guy must have been fucking dumb. He probably knew the code. He was probably in the beginning. But I am just a simple player number 2. You know, it doesn't really matter.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Hello. You good? Where are you?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I don't want to escape none shit. I'm gonna wait on your command, mate. I don't know if I should do this. You wanna talk? Where am I supposed to go? Yeah, maybe the other guy knew, but yeah, you hadn't tell me. Come on, tell me something. I don't want to push it on unless.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Unless
What
you're not
horrible
mad.
secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Well, it's a mind control facility. That's all I know.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Wait, what? Could you not? What's happening? What's happening? Is this meant to happen? What? You stop? Come on. Daddy, I want it. Do something. What? You stop spinning? Me? Is my mouse broken? Where are you going? Oh. Or, yeah. The other guy must have had a fucking broken mouse over doing that. Hello? What the fuck are you doing?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
What a horrible faith. Oh, I died at 427. I am 427. I remembered. And it's right that little room. Well, I'm off too.
No, he refused to believe it. He
I refuse to believe it.
His own life
I can't
in
accept
someone
it.
else's control? Never.
I would
It was
never be in
unthinkable,
someone else's
wasn't it?
control.
Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
System power. Off you go. Off you go. Nobody's gonna be this again. Oh, what? see a little bit of light.
Blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty.
No, I see a little bit of light.
Was it
there.
over?
It's not over. It's not over. This guy must have been
Yes.
fucking dumb. He hasn't
He had
even
won.
escaped.
He had defeated the machine.
I've done it.
Unshackled himself from someone
Yes.
else's command.
I've
Freedom
unshackled
was mere
myself.
moments away.
Oh yes,
And yet,
of course.
even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives,
Peaceful.
it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
This is beautiful.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Varför in i öronen nu? Shimon beat the game. I really beat the game, boys. I wonder where the other Kevin. Oh, guys. Oh, fuck. What happened? I was in a closet and then it all just disappeared right in front of my eyes. I have no idea. I got a call.
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
Wait, I just walked up here. What can I do from here? Wait, can I walk on up on any stool? Well, now I can't do it. Yeah, I can. What should I do here? Come on, go up it. I know you can. You did it 2 seconds ago. Well, I'm off. There's no narration. Narrator? Are you dead? Sounds like I'm typing when I'm clicking.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, what if I do the exact opposite
This was
way?
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Now that could be an option.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
What if I don't?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
That's good.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Oh shit. What's
That's
this?
her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
427.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Okay.
All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
She was actually kind of scary.
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
You've shown me.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
What?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
I know you're just teasing me. Okay.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do.
I'm not
Now
getting
he's
back
pushing
to
a button.
427.
Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
I'm not going back, Mr. Narrator. I'm not going back to 427. Do I have to? Do I have to? I don't want to. I'm not gonna follow orders.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Okay, but now you're just fucking teasing. I want to watch TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
You're driving your point across very good.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Tell your wife you love
But
her.
there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
I don't want to go to sleep. I want to press any other button. You've already drove your point across.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Yes! Thank you! Oh. You're just gonna make me push it as you argue. I won't. I'll time lapse this. I'm just gonna stand here for as long as it needs to. I'm staying here for 10 minutes. Okay, don't worry about it. Dedicated. I gotta do this.
Waited in a room for far too long. Not a recognition where it gone. The time keep ticking very slowly. I've been waiting here for such a long time. Ain't doing squash shit on my mind. On my mind. I've been waiting for a long time. Without you, I'm no exemption. Stanley, please answer my calls. Been waiting for way too long. Please, the narrator, I've been waiting for too long for this. You can make me sick through this. It's been taking too long. You ain't making me a little song, so I don't know if I'm where to stop. Hope you like that music. Hope you like that musical number. Took a little while to like. Well, on with the video.
There should be enough audio. But fuck! I've been waiting for 10 fucking minutes, and nothing has happened. You saw me a time lapse of singing. Well, that's all fine. Let's just do this.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
I don't want to question nothing. Narrator, help me. I need help.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed
Please
a button.
die.
And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Please die. The fuck? Oh, folks. I think that was the end of our lives, so I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, wait. What the fuck's this? A dark alleyway? It doesn't even lead to the same room as I used.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Well, I'm scared of you now, so I'm gonna do everything you want to.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No, I won't.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense.
No, it's
And as
perfectly
Stanley
reasonable.
pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Yay!
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up.
I don't think
How
I'm
was
crazy.
he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
Oh.
Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up,
Then I
he thought
opened
to
my
himself.
eyes.
I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
I think I'm crazy.
I am okay.
I'm still here! Fucking hell!
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
But... Okay. Wait. Okay. I think I'm
This is the
crazy.
story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was
Bed, okay.
interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
You've been talking straight for so fucking long, mate. I haven't even been possible to talk. But it was only supposed to be a little quick turnaround, but it ended up being pretty long. So fuckers. It's
All
the end
his
of the video.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter
I'm
how hard
supposed to
Stanley
crouch.
looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
What's this? What?
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map
What?
until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want. Like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. You too will become quite unbearable.
Where I feel as you wish. This is end of the